Hello, everyone, and welcome to MSW Management's Quick Chat. I'm Arturo Santiago, the Chief Editor of MSW Management Magazine. This is the space where we spend a little bit of time with industry leaders and innovators to see what they're up to. And this Quick Chat, we're chatting with John Gertzmeyer of Amp Robotics. John is the National Sales Director. We're also speaking with Andy Tolsdorf, the DPW Director in Emmet County, Michigan. Thank you both for joining us. John, I'm going to start with you. Whenever I think of artificial intelligence, AI, I always think of the movie Terminator and machines taking over the world. First of all, assure me that's not going to happen, and then give us some background on Amp Robotics and how your technology works.
Well, it's not the first time we've heard that, Arturo, and there actually is a rumor, which I believe has some truth to it, that there is a line of code somewhere written in our robots sourcing that would keep the robots from ever turning on humans. So you don't have to worry about that.
Good, thank you.
The thing we're more concerned about is if they ever truly, people say they're self-aware, if they ever truly became self-aware, they probably would get up and walk out of the MRFs and go down to air-conditioned Amazon facility where they could work. So, but Amp Robotics is, was started about 5 years ago by Tanya Horowitz, and really with the idea of bringing AI and machine learning into, a new industry or a new space where that, as AI was expanding and exploding, trying to find a new industry where it hadn't really been touched with technology. And the kind of the marriage of that was Tanya finding the waste and recycling industry and coming into an industry that historically has been very mechanical and driven by very mechanical pieces of equipment that are designed to run material through very quickly. And so you've not seen a ton of technological advances in that space, over the years. And as AI took off, it allowed us to take this technology into the space where, the challenges there are that you never see the same water bottle come through the same time. One time it's full, one time it's empty, one time it's smashed, one time it's crinkled. So you have to be able to have AI that's very robust and able to continue to learn and, advance the technology within the space. So that's where, Amp Robotics was born, of this need and really coming into, it was kind of a perfect storm at a time when, we joked about labor earlier, but when the labor force, is ever changing, and there's it's a constant pain point within these facilities, even a bigger pain point coming out of a global pandemic, when all of the conversations are now, how do we run this facility with even less dependence on human labor and human sorters, just because there's so much competition for jobs, there's so much competition for for this workforce and other places that they can go to work. So it's allowed AMP to really come into the industry with our technology and be able to help solve some of those pain points.
Okay, thank you. And Andy, AMP Tech is in Emmet County. How is it being used there? What are some of the challenges that you guys have faced?
So at Emmet County, we have a MRF, a processing facility, and we are a little bit unusual in the fact that we are a dual stream processing facility. So we have both a containers line and a fiber line. Last year, we upgraded our containers line, and throughout those upgrades, so we upgraded the entire line. We didn't just add the robots onto an existing line. So part of our upgrades were to add 3 AMP robots, and those robots are currently sorting aluminum, cartons, HDPE natural, HDPE colored, and PET, and then 1 through 7 mixed plastics. Part of the reasons that we upgraded 2 robots was for staffing. And when we started this project, it was in 2018. So it was long before COVID and COVID staffing issues, but we were already starting to see changes in the labor markets. And we weren't able to get the people that we needed to run our facility. So labor was a big part of it. But another part of deciding to go with robots is just the fact that they can adapt. As the material stream is always changing, the robots seem to be capable of doing a good job of adapting to the changing material makeup.
Now, have you seen a noticeable improvement in material recovery?
Not necessarily. We aren't necessarily doing different material sorts or increased sorts. We're really just making what we were doing, and the robots help make it much more efficient. So I know one statistic we have is what we were able to do in an 8-hour day with people, we can do in 3 hours with the robots
Right.
and people combined. So the robots are really just helping making our whole system much more efficient.
Now, what do you guys face in terms of seasonality?
So we are in northern Michigan, so we are a huge tourist destination in the summer. So our population triples through the summer months. So we definitely need the efficiencies in the summer. And so, like, for example, last summer we had probably 2,000 yards of mixed containers flowing out our back door of our tipping floor that we actually ended up having to send to another facility to sort and process for us because we weren't able to stay on top of it. And now that we have our new line and our robots, we are staying on top of everything that is coming in.
Great. Now, considering all those successes that you guys have been having so far, are you considering other applications of artificial intelligence and automation?
Not at this time. We would definitely be open to it. And we were talking internally that we're very excited to see what AMP can come up with next. And if there's any new technology or new projects or new ideas, we'd be more than happy to work with them.
Oh, I'm sure they got guys working on it already.
Yep, so we'll be the guinea pig.
Great. Now, you guys are very committed to your circular economy in Emmet County. How have the robots helped in that regard?
So in Emmet County at our facility, we are proud to say that 95% of the material that we process stays in Michigan, supplies Michigan businesses. So the robots have just helped us ensure that we have a clean stream going to the businesses. One example that we love to share is our cartons. So our robots sort our cartons. And those cartons go to Great Lakes Tissue, which is a factory that's just 30 miles from our facility. They make toilet paper, and the county actually buys that toilet paper back. So we keep the products local, we keep the money local, and we are supporting our local economy.
Excellent. Thank you, Andy. And John, is there anything that you want to add to any of Andy's comments so far?
Yeah, we're so excited to be a continued partner with Emmet County. They do such great things up there from a recycling standpoint, and happy that we've been able to come in and eliminate some of the pain points with the use of our robotics. It's interesting when you think about the technology, and Andy mentioned, things that may be coming, but, the current technology as well continues to advance every day. These robots that sit in Michigan and, sit at the northern tip of Michigan and learn and operate every day. They share, a collective learning circle with all of the robots we have across the country. So that's one of the the strongest points of the AI and the machine learning is that, we're able to take that information back from these robots and then go through and anonymize it and aggregate it and make changes and updates and continue to teach the system and the neural network on the robots and what they're doing. So then that information is sent out to all of the robots. So they're really learning from, the Michigan robots are learning from robots in California or Florida or other parts of the country and vice versa. So, there's amazing things going on all the time as this technology continues to advance.
So in other words, the data or the material stream in Michigan doesn't necessarily have to be changing in order for that AI to be learning. It can learn out from somewhere across the country and then employ that data in Michigan.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Arturo. And that's really, again, the power of this is that it's not just one robot. It's, if you think about as a person, everything you've ever learned, and you never were to forget that, but then also you couple that with everything that you've learned with every other person you've learned it with, and you have that collective knowledge base that just continues to grow. And so absolutely, if a robot in wine country was taught to look for, disposable plastic wine glasses, that same technology is available to a robot in Michigan, although that robot may never see a disposable plastic wine glass. So it allows you to react, locally in the case of Emmet County and things that might be specific there, but then also on more of a global or macro footprint.
Excellent. So with all of that already in such at such a high degree, John, what would be next on the roadmap for Amp Robotics?
Good question, you know, and what we do every day, I mean, all we do is robotics. So our guys do, and our girls, our team, you know, we wake up every day and all we do is focus on robotics and what we can do next. And, you know, a lot of that is on the, you know, most of the advancements will come on the AI and the machine learning, the neural network side of things, you know, whether it's continuing to add new categories or go more granular into, you know, categories that the robots can identify, or new ways to remove material from the streams, you know, being able to look at grip sensing and other things, you know, on the robots themselves, or different types of picks we're able to make, or different mechanisms to remove, you know, stubborn materials off of the belts. I mean, those are the things that we're continuing to look at every day. In addition to, you know, clarity systems and things that help you to really balance your system, understand what your material flow looks like coming through different spots within the facility. And really it's all driven by, you know, trying to continue to run and allow people, give people the empower, you know, these facilities to be able to run their facilities with much more technology and much more, you know, much less dependence again on kind of the mechanical human labor, you know, but always having opportunities for those people to work within the facilities. But really, you know, again, looking at increases or advancements around labor, advancements around purity, advancements around, you know, yield within the systems.
Amazing. Specifically, John, what do you foresee when it comes to the future of AI-driven recycling?
Yeah, I think that you're gonna, you know, continue to see, again, more technology within the facilities. You're probably going to start to see, you know, maybe smaller, more regional facilities that could run, you know, without, you know, having to transport material. And we know there's a lot of costs and effect on the environment when you're trucking materials long distances to get to major metropolitan areas, you know. So, you know, you may find, you know, in the future, maybe some smaller, more regional locations that are run with even more dependence, again, on technology, and less dependence, you know, because you're going to be out of those major population centers. It's going to be even harder, you know, to find labor and things at that point. But I think that it all, again, you know, Arturo, goes back to that main theme, which is being able to run these facilities with more dependence on technology and less dependence on some of the, you know, the old fashioned pain points that we've had along the way.
And it seems to me there are kind of two disciplines here, John. You have like you said, you mentioned the neural network, and you also mentioned the robotics hardware. Am I right? Are those two different disciplines where they have to work in concert with each other?
Yeah, they sure do. You know, the interesting thing about the robots is that the robots themselves have been around for a long time. You know, these were robots that were in packaging and have been, you know, in scenarios where you'd have things that were coming down the belt that were, you know, just uniform. You know, if you have chocolates all the way across the belt, they all look the same. They're easy to identify, easy to pick up and put into packaging. That was when, you know, the hardware and the software kind of were traveling at the same pace of advancement. Over the last 5 to 10 years, again, what you've seen is this huge advancement in the AI and the machine learning, and the robotic hardware has stayed very much the same. So, you know, when we look at our systems, you know, there's really three main parts. There's, you know, the camera system up front, which we consider the eyes, that's recording everything that comes down the belt and giving an output of everything that the robot is seeing. And then there's the brain, which is, you know, the neural network that is identifying those materials from its database and then telling the robot what to act on. And then you have the robot, which is the physical part, you know, the arms, which is going in and then removing an item and taking it out. So all three of those items have to work in concert, you know, for the robot to operate. What you'll see again, I think, moving forward is there'll be, you know, kind of, you are able to do a standalone vision system that you could put at different points within the facility, you know, without a direct attachment to a robot. And again, allowing you to have much more information on the kind of balance of plant as material comes through, and throughput and material types and you know, alerts and alarms and things like that. So, you know, to date, you know, it's largely been where you've had these three items working in concert. And then I think as you go forward, you'll start to see some offshoots of that where you will have some standalone technology as well.
I see. And I have one more question for you, Andy. With such this technology being such high level stuff, was there any apprehension for Emmet County to kind of jump in and start going in this technological down this technological road?
Yes, I think there was for two different reasons. Of course, everyone hears robots and thinks that we're replacing jobs and everyone's going to lose their jobs. So that was not the case. We didn't have the staffing in the first place. So nobody did lose their job. We actually are very proud that because of these robots, we're now confident in our staffing needs. So instead of using temp labor, all of our labor is now county employees full-time with benefits. So the robots actually have allowed us to become secure in the staffing needs. So that's one thing that a story that we're proud to share. But the other thing was our existing staff were so focused on quality. We are very, very, very have high quality materials. We have great relationships with our markets. That's what allows us to keep our stuff in Michigan and supply Michigan factories. So our guys take a lot of pride in the quality that's coming out. And when we first installed the robots, they were concerned that our quality was going to go down with the robots because stuff gets knocked around. It's not as exact as one person with their hand. It's a lot faster, but not as exact. So our guys were really concerned about the quality when we first installed the robots. But now they've been up and running for probably 9 months now, and we have no concerns. We've had no lack of quality with our materials. Our markets are still happy with what's coming out, and our guys are proud of what's coming out still. So those were the two apprehensions we had with this, and neither of those ended up being a concern at all.
Excellent. And I want to reassure everyone that there are plenty of wine glasses in Michigan, being from
Yes.
Michigan myself.
Yes, wine bottles, especially up here in northern Michigan in the summer.
Right. John, I'll leave the last comments for you. Speaking to the apprehension that some municipalities may feel when it comes to, starting to integrate your high-tech, your high-tech equipment and software. How would they overcome that? What would you say to them to assure them that they can have success stories just like Emmet County?
Yeah, thank you. We've definitely seen a shift in the market over the last 3 or 4 years. Where people at that point were talking a lot about if we do robots, if we advance into technology, to where now it's when we go into this technology and when we get robots. So we've definitely seen a shift in the market from early adopters in the beginning when we had a few robots out to now when we have hundreds of robots out, and it's really an accepted technology and an accepted piece within the footprint of a successful facility. So the challenge there is that you will always have people that kind of want to sit on the sideline and wait and make sure that this is I'm getting the best version I can get today before I jump into it. But what I would tell people is that today is the day to do that, because there's while you're waiting, you're going to continue to experience labor problems, purity problems, yield problems, and all the other issues that you have, while not being able to take advantage of the technology that's available today and will continue to advance with you. Most of the advancements we see, again, are going to be on the software side and on the technology side. And all of our robots and all of our fleet is partakes in any advancements we make within those advances. Anybody that remains kind of a part of the AMP family with us or through our service and maintenance packages stays with the latest and greatest software updates and upgrades and any other advancements that take place with the robots. So you're not going to be left behind if you wait. In fact, you're probably going to be left behind if you don't jump in right away.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I do want to remind everyone before we go that Amp Robotics founder and CEO Matanya Horowitz, you mentioned him a little earlier, John. He was named one of MSW Management Magazine's Innovators of 2021. Just wanted to put that plug in there for you. So John, Andy, thank you both so much for joining us for this quick chat.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Arturo.